started with Mike Benton.
Good morning.
Dave, good morning. Hey, thank you for doing this. Just first off, confirming you mentioned that Hayden Fleury making progress and looking to see if there are any changes here to expect for the lineup for tonight, and if you're going with Gruby in net.
Yeah, Fleurs will be in, and Gruby is starting in goal tonight.
Scott Malone.
Dave, it looked like the other night in Calgary, you talked about how you didn't want to overload the computer with Maddie in his first game. It looked like you guys kind of shied away a bit from having him take a bunch of defensive zone draws. Was that sort of by design, or is that just kind of how the game and the shifts played out?
A little bit of both. You know, we'll measure that as we go. You know, and that's one of the adjustments coming into this league that you know, that can be very challenging for a young centerman. So we'll adjust as we go. We'll read, you know, how the night is going, see some of the matchups, and you know, and adjust from there as we go through each game.
Back to Mike.
Hey, Dave, with 9 games left here in the season, what's the impact you've seen with veteran leaders on a day-to-day basis to create the ideal foundation heading into next season?
For me, that's everybody. I talked about it coming out of the trade deadline. I mean, everybody's being evaluated on you know, those team areas on a day-to-day basis. We're all part of that. So it's not just veterans. You know, we're looking at how everybody reacts in each and every one of these situations competitively, and you know, and as a teammate in terms of what their presence and poise is in each and every situation.
Back to Scott.
Dave, and sort of talking about that veteran leadership, you know, you've seen a lot of guys on the blue line trying to work their way in and prove, you know, that they deserve more time moving forward. How valuable is it to have a guy like Adam Larsson out there who, you know, you can count on night in, night out, shift in, shift out?
Well, it's, you know, it's important. You know, as I said, I'm looking forward from all different areas of our lineup, whether it's a veteran player or a younger player. In Larsson's particular case, he's a guy that shows up and he competes extremely hard every night. He's a good pro, you know, so he's a guy that certainly we can count on, and we have been able to count on throughout the year. And you know, if I'm a young guy looking at somebody, he might be one guy that I'd probably pay attention to in terms of how he goes about his business and how good a pro he is.
And if I can quickly kind of follow up on that, you know, he seemed to be really involved going both ways the other night in Calgary. You know, from that coaching perspective, when you look at him, is that sort of what his game looks like when he's going really well?
Well, the biggest piece of Larsson's game is defending and being a good, efficient two-way guy, getting us out of our end. You know, I believe the part of his game that, you know, doesn't draw a lot of attention is, you know, some of the offensive instincts. And, you know, there's nights where he sits back a little bit and is not quite as aggressive. You know, that you know, he's just taking care of his matchups. You know, on a night, you know, like the other night, we saw some holes in some areas that we wanted to attack against Calgary, especially in the second night of the 2-game set against them. And, you know, he did a really good job taking advantage of, you know, of those areas and jumping into those holes. So that was by design on his part. And, you know, it's not the first piece of his game, but, you know, there's, you know, he scored some good goals for us this year where he's activating and finding those holes and jumping into the play. And he's been pretty efficient at it.
Any more questions for Coach here? Okay, all set. Thanks
Great.
so much, Dave.
Thank you.